bravefathers.com.
Welcome to the Brave Fathers Show. And now, the prophecy.
So, who wins the gender war? Is the gender war even real? Is there a gender war going on? Now, a lot of people might think it's a crazy question to ask. They might think, duh, obviously, John Paul, there is a gender war going on. Just look at all the injustice against the men. Look at all the injustices against women. What is everybody raging about? Is there a war on masculinity? Is there a war on women? Are men and women essentially fighting each other in this gender war? That's what we are going to discuss today. My name is John Paul. Let me just check something here quickly so I can hold on one second. I'm having an issue here. Hold on one second. Let me play this intro again while I restart the show because I think I made a mistake. Forgive me for that. It's been a very rough day today. It's been a very rough day today. In fact, let me play
A
this
woman
video
who is very, very attracted to you will make it cheap and easy to access her time and will clear the way to access the sexual opportunity. The flip side of this is that the men who pay the most are the ones that women are interested in the least. Let me say that again. The men who pay the most are the ones that women are interested in the least. And to the extent that men want to be with women who want to be with them, this means that the higher the price, the lower the rational basis for paying it. This is because the more you pay, the less you get what you want. And though this is sad, it kind of makes sense. If a woman isn't authentically interested in a man, if she's not very attracted to him, then she will need to be compensated in other ways in order to stick around.
All right, so you saw that. So basically, the more you pay for a woman's company, the less she wants you. How is this relevant to the gender war? You're going to find out in a moment. So first, let's define what the gender war is. In my definition, is basically the societal phenomenon we have today, where essentially the two sexes that we have are pitted against each other, which is the male and the female. Now, of course, we have over 100 genders now, so those don't seem to be included in that gender war. Is essentially what one might call the reproductive sexes, right? Because we reproduce by combining what we get from males with what we get from females. So we're going to look at that, and you understand today why that video I just showed you is important and why it's relevant. Now, I also mentioned in the title a question whether the manosphere is going to hold its ground, whether it can hold its ground. Fire! Can the manosphere hold its ground? That's the question as well. In this gender war that we're fighting, we have the red pill, the manosphere, the MGTOWs, we have the incels, the looks maxers. It feels like a Mean Girls movie. It feels like one of those movies we used to have back in the day. So we had different groups in a school, and each one had its own way of doing things, right? Like different gangs, sort of. So, my sweaty self. Let's dip into it. So, on social media, we see all the time videos either accusing men of doing something or women being accused of doing something. And the reason why I'm putting it this way is, with my approach, I've realized that women think I'm against them and men think I'm against them as well. What they don't realize is that I am the truth, I am the prophecy, and I'm going to tell everybody what it is because everybody else is wrong. I'm the only one who's right. I'm the only one who's right. So that's why I'm here to teach the truth. So I want to start first with the female side, what their problem is, the way I understand it. So this is not official, but I think the biggest fear females have in regards of relationship is to be forced to have sex with a man who abuses them and have no agency of her own and not being able to escape that situation, that environment. So they are afraid that they will end up with a man and that the oppressive system encourages such men, and most men are that way, abusive, and that they take away women's freedom and women's agency and restrict their access to money, financial resources, to their freedom. So essentially, these women think or feel that they will end up trapped, or some feel they are already trapped, and that's the inevitable result of a dominant male. That's where it's going to go. So that's not the only thing. That's not the only reason why women think they are at war with men. But that is, when it comes down to it, that is what they are scared of. And I'll explain why I think that is in a moment as well. When it comes to men, what men don't want is to become a workhorse for the family in a sexless marriage. So a man is afraid he's going to be with a woman who doesn't have sex with him, potentially cheats on him, doesn't show him affection, doesn't show him love, doesn't show him respect, and neither do the children, but he has to work to provide financially and otherwise to them, give them protection. So when it comes to the bottom line, that's what each sex is afraid of. Unfortunately, I cannot speak for the other 107 genders, I believe. I'm not much familiar with them, unfortunately. Albeit I have some friends who seem to belong to one of those. I have to ask them to define for me better what it is so I can understand it. But let's focus on men and women. Now, the manosphere in general seems to be the answer to feminism, right? So that's like a broad term used for all things encompassing male interests. It's being made into a derogatory term these days. People want to put that word down because I will concede that a lot of things that men do is disrespected and put down. We are devalued in the society constantly, and we are made to look like we are villains. Feminism is an answer to the problem that many women do end up in abusive relationships where they don't know how to escape. I would argue that without technology, it's more obvious how dependent women are on men. And that is what I consider to be a fact. And that dependence is often used by males who don't have self-respect, self-worth, to abuse women. And it's possible that it's more common than we wish to accept. Now, of course, this does not mean that all men should pay the price for those who do wrong. If another man does something wrong, it has absolutely nothing to do with me. I don't feel responsible. I don't even care much about what he does. Of course, I don't like to see people hurt, which is why I'm doing this show, because hopefully I can talk sense to some people. Today, one person actually, I was very happy with a response I got on X. Today was actually the first. in a long time that somebody actually considered that they didn't know, some of the stuff that I actually shared with the person. And I'm very grateful for the person being honest and saying they didn't know. And it pertains to the video that I just showed you, which is essentially spending money on women for sex. So the other side of it is a woman doesn't want to be dependent on a man, right? Which is fair. But we have another side of it, because the picture is being painted that women are all innocent victims at the hands of males, which is not true. It's just not true, no matter what the statistics say, because the statistics are fake news. The statistics are fake most of the time, or skewed on purpose, or omit certain things, and outright, when a male is a victim at the hands of female, is just ignored. And I've seen it, you have seen it, we know it happens. So I'm not even going to pretend that I view the current politically correct answer as the correct answer. It's just what the society has accepted today. So there are abusive men out there, and women are at a natural disadvantage when it comes to physical strength to most women. Of course, there are some exceptions, but in general, they are at a physical disadvantage. So that puts them in a certain position. So without technology, for example, women would really struggle to build a house with their bare hands if they want to also carry children. Of course, in the olden days, a lot of women did that, and they suffered a lot. They suffered a lot, not because of men, but because the conditions were really harsh. Technology really, really makes our lives easier. Without technology, I wouldn't be able to talk to you right now. So, by the way, if you disagree, comment below. If you agree, leave a comment as well, so I can know what you think and what your view is and what your stand is on these issues. So women are at that disadvantage. I would argue that men have a higher capacity to do mundane, boring things, which is what makes us excel in every field. Because if it's boring, but we are committed or passionate, we just do it. We'll go through the motions. Females, on the other hand, prefer more interesting things where there's interactions, where there is some kind of feedback for what they are doing, right? So let's say when I practice my guitar, because I want to become a very good guitarist, I could play the same thing over and over and over and over, right? The same song 100 times, 1,000 times if I have to. To most females, that's boring. Of course, there are many interesting guitarists, female guitarists, but in general, they would not want to do something mundane if there's nobody else responding to it. There's no company, there's no human interaction. And that is also a disadvantage, because in most fields, it's boring stuff that gets you the success, right? I'm sure you're good at something, whatever it is you're good at, male or female. You had to, at some point, say, you know what? I can't rely on anybody's encouragement or feedback, even if I have it. I need to motivate myself, be by myself, concentrate, and get this done, right? Even if you're studying with people around the table, you still have to, at some point, think for yourself and by yourself to achieve anything in life. And so now we come to already a disagreement, because a lot of women will disagree with me on this. And I'll come to things that men will disagree with me on as well. But a lot of women will disagree with me because they think they are the same as us. We are not the same. When you play with your kids, for example, and you let them win, right? As we do as fathers, sometimes we let them win. Of course, there's times when we just win because they need to learn the lesson of losing a game. And often we let them win because we want them to win. And the kids might think they really beat you. I'm sure they know to some degree, but they don't understand the vast difference between you and them. And we do that with women. And women find my words patronizing, of course. I am aware of that. But we do that. A lot of times we let them win. We protect them we allow them things that we don't allow males to do, right? So I'm sure you've seen females shouting at bouncers, poking their fingers at them, even hitting them, not expecting to get an uppercut. A male would never dare do that. A lot of females think they are bold and confident. They don't understand that males are holding back from responding to them because we want to protect them. That's our natural instinct, to protect them. I don't condone violence among adults. I don't like it. I really don't. So it's sad when we see these situations, but they don't realize that we subsidize a lot of their life. And when the society devalues the men's contribution, they actually believe that they don't need men because the men who actually do things for them are invisible to them. They don't see it. Again, similar to when you're responsible for someone, they don't see all the things you do to take care of them, right? Whew. But now let's look at the male side. I would argue that the modern males are overly critical of females and not critical enough of themselves. And I've had comments, especially on X, telling me that, not just on X, on other platforms as well, that we should not hold men accountable, or they think I am simping or being a cuck for women when I say certain things are a man's responsibility. Because I know that male leadership is the most important element of building a society. It's not the only element, but that's the foundation. Without male leadership, it's just a matter of time till everything goes wrong. Now, females think they can be as good leaders as men. They can't, with few exceptions. There are some exceptions, of course. And there's a degree of scale that is also different. So there are certain positions that women excel at as leaders. But overall, men are better leaders, period. We are also better followers, period. So the gender war is essentially hyping people's frustrations because of the differences between the sexes. So rather than teaching people to understand we are different, we say the other person is your enemy because they are different. And it's a very ridiculous thought because human beings are not divided into genders. Yes, it's a classification, but it's not a division. We are divided according to our individual selves, our family, our families, our communities, towns, cities, countries, continents, perhaps, and as the human race as a whole. Your body has several parts. Your left hand cannot go to war against your right hand. They are both necessary, they are both important. And the unit actually comprises them. So a human functional unit, societal unit, is not the individual, it's the family. And it's supplemented by communities, by groups of people. That's why everybody likes to have friends, or most people like to have friends or some kind of company. Or some kind of company. Those are the divisions that we have in society. It's not based on gender. But you see, there are people who benefit from that division. Because there are males who are frustrated and there are females who are frustrated. You can feed them the negative energy and make them think that things are worse than they are. And where people have been through tragic situations, it's hard for them to see beyond reality. Oh, sorry, beyond their pain, through to reality. You can deceive a man who was screwed in a divorce that all women are evil, right? In the same way, a woman who has been abused in a relationship, you can convince her that all men are evil because those are their experiences. I'm mostly concerned with what we do as men because we are the leaders. And a lot of men these days refuse that. They reject that straight away. And they want to follow society instead. So this again puts them at a disadvantage because the same society that they want to follow is the same society that puts them down. So if the society puts you down, why would you want to follow society? Many males from childhood have been taught to essentially put women's needs first, to risk their lives for women, to protect women at their own cost of potential harm. Now, there's nothing wrong with protecting somebody who's weaker than you. The challenge comes from the society not respecting men, not valuing that contribution of protection, expecting it with nothing in return. That's not right, right? Because we have to work with each other. We have to protect each other and help each other and respect each other. So, there's a new documentary which I'm not going to watch called The Manosphere. I'm not going to watch because I know it's going to be bullshit. I am going to watch the trailer and review it on this channel. But I'm seeing comments from people, and I can see the two sides. Those who hate the men are, saying the documentary exposed the Manosphere. Manosphere is saying, that the documentary was essentially fake. I think it was fake based on the little things I've seen. And it's sad to see how men are willing to put other men down just because those men have defied society's rules. Now, I've not watched it, so I don't know any specific thing anybody has done, but I'm familiar with Myron and some other people in the documentary. So I don't have to agree with them because I don't. I'm not a red pill person, right? But at the same time, they have the right to view the world the way they do. I don't see those men as bad or abusive or destructive. I see them as making the world actually a better place. I really do. I think they have a genuine desire to make the world a better place, even though I do not agree with all their actions. And that's where the hypocrisy comes in, because on both sides, because people will criticize OnlyFans girls, for instance, right? But it's men who keep that going. If men stopped paying for OnlyFans, the platform is shut down tomorrow. Easy peasy. But men will not stop paying for OnlyFans. So maybe it serves certain people in society, the tech billionaires, for example, to propagate these views which devalue men. Because if a man thinks he can't access sex or he has to pay for it, and that's normal, then platforms like OnlyFans can exist. Because men will pay for something that they can have without paying. And many men don't know this because from birth they were taught, like the red pill teaches, that they have to earn their value, which is not true. Men have intrinsic value. And women are taught, of course, to reject men. So they do in public, who don't have financial resources, for instance. But a lot of these women will sleep with a janitor if they like him. They'll sleep with the handy guy. They sleep with the gardener. They'll sleep with the guy who fixes the pool. If they like him, they will not put it on social media. They will not brag about it on TV, but they will do it. And then we come again to the other side of it. Men are so critical of female sexuality. I know there's guys who never accept women wanting to have sex with multiple men. I know that you might be one of those people yourself. If you are, comment below. Let me know why. And so women have to lie about it because otherwise the men will not take them seriously. Not because necessarily they think it's wrong, because women don't think it's wrong, but because if they want a husband, most guys will say, or a lot of guys will say, if you have what they consider to be a high body count, they would marry the woman, right? So then women learn that certain men, you just take advantage of them. You take their money because they think money gets you sex. They think women don't want to have sex, so you have to compensate them for sex with attention, with money, with gifts, favors, protection, and so forth. And a lot of men believe this. They think a real man provides and protects. No, that has nothing to do with being a real man. Nothing. That is what the society expects of men. That's when the society may acknowledge you as a man, yes. That's when women will praise you, perhaps, for being a man. Yes, I'm not denying that. But that is just what we've been taught. It is not the truth. To be a real man, all you have to do is be you, be yourself. And we are then taught that the persona we have is our true self. Let's say if you are introverted or shy, that's yourself. No, that's just what society has taught you. So again, that's another difference that brings problems between men and women, because now a guy says, I've been married for 15 years, paying all the bills, taking care of her, supporting her through school, and so on and so forth. And she is divorcing me and taking half my shit and the kids. So now he feels wronged. He does not understand that he was set up to be in that position from birth. That's one of the things we have to wake up to, that all the troubles we've had, we are raised to be in those positions. It didn't just happen that, by accident. There is no other way for you to end up than in whatever situation you are in. The only way to change it is to realize it and then start changing it. Right? So that's where the red pill is supposed to wake you up. But then the red pill also imposes rules that are wrong, because it reinforces the same thing that brought you to the red pill. And the reason why they do that is, I think, first of all, I think they actually believed a lot of the stuff they said in the beginning and it caught on and it was too late to change it. But it also makes money for them. And it's what allows them to get into mainstream platforms. Because you have to understand that any message that tells men you have to earn your value, even if it gets criticized and so on and so forth, it will still be allowed, because the fear that men have is correct. If they're not careful, they'll be used as workhorses for women and potentially children. And many males do it willingly. They don't have a problem paying for a woman's nails that they've never met, they've never had sex with her, they've never done anything with her. You're going on a date, they think it's cool and shows them as cool guys to pay for the woman's nails, her clothes, her hair, before she shows up on a date. So right away, as some would say, the sexuality is monetized, but it's only monetized to you if you do this. It's only to you and other males, which is most males, who think it's normal for them to spend extra effort, extra money, extra time to convince a woman to have sex with them. So that then puts them at a very, very big disadvantage when it comes to family courts, for example. Why? Because number one, the shock of realizing that the investment doesn't pay off stops the man from thinking rationally. He acts out. He may crash out. He may restrict their movements. He will say, don't have any male friends, and so on and so forth. Right? It has never stopped women from cheating ever. That practice, never. But it doesn't stop people from doing it. But when you get to family court, you will be called an abuser for that you are controlling. And frankly, there is some truth to it. I don't think you should be penalized for it like that. I don't, if it's just, a certain boundaries. I don't agree with those boundaries, but it's not right to stop you from seeing your children, because women do it too. Women get jealous. They say, oh, don't talk to her, don't be friends with her, and so on and so forth. It's not seen as abuse, but women do it. There's a lot of things that people learn, make mistakes, and they have to have the opportunity to make mistakes and grow and learn from them. That's something we are taking away from people as a society. So people who want the gender war to continue, like certain professionals in the family courts, for example, certain people who make money from this stuff, they want this conflict to continue. So if there's anybody who wins this war, it's the people who make money on the higher level from it. Because in the long run, women end up lonely and men end up lonely. We fight each other when we crave each other. We want each other. Every man wants a woman and every woman wants a man. That's nature. But we have to pretend we don't want each other, especially these days, to fit into the societal norms. It's very frustrating, trying to let people understand this. And the fact that it's unfair does not mean that you are exempt from having to solve it for yourself. You see, like I've been through the process just like you, but I never spent much money on women. Never. And women have spent way more money on me than I have on them. Why? Because I don't associate myself with women who want money in exchange for sex. I'm just not interested in that kind of relationship. For many years in my life, I didn't, I had women take off everything that I needed financially. So why would I change from doing that into paying? And it's not, there's nothing special about me like that, apart from the fact that I'm the prophecy. It's just that any man who has the confidence to do it will have it. I'm not saying that you walk up to any woman and you just get what you want from her, because that's not how life works. That's not realistic. But you find a woman who wants you for you, more than any of your girlfriends have ever wanted you, more than any wife that you have, right? But we have a problem where people are so far removed from the other gender, they don't even know how to relate to the other gender. Men don't know how to relate to women. That is the disadvantage we have. A lot of the troubles we have with women is because we don't know how to relate to them. And the reason why we don't know how to relate to them is because of how we were raised, because of the societal norms. What's worse, women cannot teach you how to relate to women, because women don't know how to relate to women as a man. They don't. I can ask you right now, what's your favorite pizza joint, right? And you tell me. And I say, okay, go and make me that pizza right now. You can't. Because you don't know the recipe. Even if you know the recipe, if you've not been doing it, if you've not been trained in it, you can't do it. And it's the same with women. They can tell you what they want, they can tell you what they like, but they can't teach you how to do that. It's impossible. The fact that you like something, the fact that you want something, doesn't mean you know how to get it. And that's a problem. And so the people who like the gender wars to continue, they take advantage of that. Because the guy is fighting against his ex, hoping for reconciliation. He does not know that she was ready to divorce him before he got married. Because he's not used to approaching women. He's not had, most guys have not even had 20 women in their lives. 20, not even 30, not even 40 or 50 or whatever. Right? But it takes a lot of experience to understand what's out there, how it works. I'm not saying you should start sleeping around, but if you marry the third girl or seventh girl or the 10th girl or the 15th girl who shows you some kind of interest, you don't know enough. And she knows way more than you because she, on the other hand, was raised from childhood to find a man who would take care of her. She wasn't raised to take care of a man, to do things for him. She was taught to get. So she knows how to get things from you. And a lot of men think, oh, the relationship was good. It was not good. You liked it, you were comfortable in it, but it was not good because you don't know what good is. Because you were not taught to be good. You're not taught that she should earn her spot. Because if you're frank, none of your girlfriends or your wife or whoever earned the spot over a long period of time. She didn't work towards it. The fact that she cooked for you or cleaned for you and gave you a blowjob is not working for it. She didn't take any risks continuously, consistently, every day to be with you. You did, right? Because you spent your whole life preparing to take care of her. And she spent her whole life to be taken care of. But again, women can also end up in situations where men take advantage of them. If right now we had a more fair system, more women would be forced to work harder than they are willing to work. This generation in general coming up, both male and female, they are not used to doing hard things. They are not used to frustration. They are not used to blood and sweat. So they can't handle it. And if the women want equality, then they will have to do the same hard jobs that men do. They don't want to do that, right? They don't want to carry bricks all day long or dig holes or, do boring calculations all day long. But again, all these differences pit men and women against each other. So the question then is, what's the solution? How do we resolve this? As it stands now, we can't save everybody. Not everybody wants to be saved. So what we need to do is stop playing along with the society. Stop allowing the society to devalue us. Yes, there are unfair situations, so we must put effort into understanding them. Family courts are not fair to men, for the most part. So you have to make extra effort to familiarize yourself with how it works so you can win a good outcome for yourself and your children. You have to stop taking women to expensive dinners. Yeah, it's different if it's your wife that you're married and you're enjoying your life together. That's one thing. But if it's a new girl you just met, there's no reason to take her anywhere that's expensive. Just take her somewhere where it's good enough. Are you willing to do that? How many people are actually willing to do that? The moment you are not willing to do it, another guy jumps in. So you may think you have to compete, but no. But at the same time, we also have to accept that women don't always want relationships. They don't always want commitment from you. You have to be willing to be the guy that adds to her body count. I'm not saying you should do that if that's not your thing, maybe your religion, your morals, whatever. But you have to accept that women are sexual too. And women will lie about it because, again, they will be judged. So you can't blame them for that. You can't blame them for not being truthful about how much they enjoy sex and how they fantasize about certain men and so on and so forth. Right? I'm not saying let your girlfriend sleep around if that's not the kind of relationship you want, or your wife. But we can't be so critical. We have to start understanding we are different. And women have to also start learning that men are different. We are different. We don't care about the same things. We don't want to be the same. We don't always want to be vulnerable with our feelings. Right? We don't always want to do that. And On the flip side, the guys who do that, who want to do it, that's also not right because it doesn't work, which is what you get online, right? People complain that, oh, I was vulnerable and then it didn't work out. Of course, it will not work out because that's not how the world is. That's not how the world is built. A lion doesn't go and cry to the lioness. He'll be ousted from the pride. So we need to start accepting those differences, and the sooner you do it, the more likely you are to find a good woman who wants to be with you because you have an open mind to explore and understand each other better. And that's how we end the gender war, because we all lose if we keep it up. Now, there are some people who are determined not to stop, but we can stop them by being a society that there's no room for that. And how do we build a society? Men have to lead. And you lead starting with yourself. You figure out what you want to do for yourself and you do that. You build a life that you want for yourself. And then if a female wants to come into that life, let her earn it. If someone walked up to you and just said, hey, I want to be your best friend, or if you want to be your friend, that's a male, you'll be skeptical of that person. You might vet the person, you might question their motives. But when a woman tells you on day one, I want to be your girlfriend, you think, oh, that's a good thing. The most important position in your life, you think somebody can come in on day one and be qualified. And because you've been starved from childhood for female love, yes, you have been starved for female love and affection, you chase it in those women. And they know it. And they know it. Women are very smart when it comes to these things. So the point is, these differences and misunderstandings is what is used to pit us against each other because we don't have a common language. We don't have a common understanding of what we want. The woman knows the guy she really wants she's not going to have him. So she settles, or she settled for you and for me until I understood this stuff. Can you blame her? Yes, no, it's irrelevant. She did it. Are you willing to accept that you didn't know what you were doing, that you were all in your feelings, all in love, and your society told you that that's okay, that that's what it is? That you meet someone, you fall in love. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Relationships are built over time. Even if you really like the person, you still have to build that relationship because you don't know each other. And you can't expect somebody to come into your life and on the next day to change your life. You are the only one who can do it for yourself. And then when you do that, that's when you know how to put a woman in your life that actually deserves to be there, that is worth having a place in your life, and you should be willing to discard her. And I've seen people making comments that, oh, so I'll have to approach 100 girls. Maybe you will have to go on 100 dates to meet the right one. You may have to go on 500 dates to meet the right one, because this is the most important position in your life. Now, of course, guys would think it's crazy. Hey, I would rather go on 500 dates than to end up divorced, losing half my stuff. Because for your information, I didn't, I got out of the situation before it ended up in a marriage situation. Because I spotted, thanks to my mentorship that I had, people mentoring me before, I realized that, wait a minute, I'm in danger here. This situation is wrong. So I started getting out way sooner than most guys do, which is what gave me the insights that I got, which also helped me get the results I got. But it has to be a genuine desire to do the right thing. And you start by doing the right thing for yourself. You know, somebody commented me on X that men can't win. Men can win, but you have to want to win. Father X is a great example. Jason from Alienated Dads Network is another great example in the UK. They won their situations because they did what it took to win. It's not fair. It's very painful, but you have to do what it takes. Today, I saw comments, you know, people say all the time they'd rather suffer through the marriage for 15 years, 20 years than risk losing half their stuff. I just don't get it. They don't realize that the woman they are with is slowing them down, that they probably could make 4 times, 5 times, 10 times more if they left her, if that's what they're worried about. They're worried about not seeing their kids. Okay, so don't tell her you're divorcing her tomorrow. Well, why don't you do what women do and spend a year or 2 preparing and then divorce her ass if you are not happy with her? Then I have others saying divorce is never okay. That's nonsense. Divorce is necessary. It's unfortunate. Yes, it's not. It's definitely not my favorite thing. Excuse me. It's definitely not the ideal situation. Of course, it's a horrible thing. It's painful. Breakups are painful, let alone a divorce. But we can't have people living in conditions that destroy their lives because there's no reconciliation coming. People say, oh, you're being negative. It is the truth. There is no reconciliation coming. There's no way you're going to turn, as Gary Halbert used to say, chicken shit into chicken salad. That marriage was doomed from the beginning. And you don't want to wait to find out until she makes the move. Because you didn't do the right thing. You didn't let her earn the spot because you don't believe that a woman should earn a spot in your life. You think you should just bring her on as an equal partner, exclusive to you, right? People say, oh, vetting doesn't change her. Of course, vetting doesn't change her. Vetting shows you who she is. Or you could vet her and then she'll change. No. She might leave you still, yeah. But vetting, you vet everything. Even when you want to get a job and you're desperate, you still check a thing or two to make sure it's legit. A job interview is you being vetted. Your probation period is you being vetted. Your trial project is you being vetted. So people vet you, test you, try you out all the time, but you are not willing to do it for yourself, for somebody to come into your life and take half the stuff you've worked for your whole life, just like that. You're not going to vet the person who has that power. You just give it to them. Right? So I'm not blaming men here. I'm just saying let's open our eyes to what we're doing. Because as long as we keep falling for that, we can't accept that, you know what, I allowed her in too easily. I was in love with the pussy. I like that cunt. I just love to fuck her so much. And she opened her legs to me regularly enough for me to be like, yeah, she likes me. I like her. And she cooked for me and she cleaned for me and she bought me this nice watch. That's it. That's all it takes to be put in the power to take half of your stuff. It's a mistake. We've made it, and it's a bitter truth. It's a sour truth to accept. But the whole gender war thing, as it stands today, the cultural war and so forth, is predicated on you not accepting this information. I had a guy write to me, oh, I can't accept that any of this is my fault. It's not about whether it's your fault or not. Your actions led you there. Whether you were oblivious to them or you are aware, it is still you who took those steps. And again, I did it too. I did it too. Now people think I'm bitter. I hate women. They think that. That's why I advocate for divorce. No. I'm saying most marriages today were started the wrong way. If you can't be saved, but not because of your efforts, it's just you're lucky to be with the right person. And it's not going to be saved by any conventional method. It's going to be saved through a very difficult and painful process that no therapist, well, let me take that back. Most therapists can't help you with. It's something you have to figure out on your own, ultimately. Even when you get help, you still have to figure it on your own. But if you're already being disrespected, there's contempt for you in a relationship, you feel devalued, you feel like you have to endure the relationship till the kids are old enough, that means you need to get out. If she hits you, you need to divorce her. If she puts you down in front of people, you need to divorce her. If you have to beg for sex, you need to divorce her. And again, that's a tough one. But life, we cannot disrespect life to the degree that where we follow the society. Since when does the society dictate your happiness? Why do you have to be with this person? Why? You're not even with her because you want to be with her. You're afraid of losing the kids and half of your stuff. There's a woman that you like more than you like your wife. If you watch adult movies online, which you probably do, most guys do, there are some that you like more than your wife. That's just the truth. And guess what? There are men your woman loves more than you or likes more than you do. She's also not happy. But she's thinking, okay, I can't do it yet. So she waits. Or she's comfortable, so she does what she wants to do, and she knows you can't leave. And that's how you get taken advantage of. You see, that's where my problem with the whole manosphere thing is. Because what they teach is still being the workhorse, for women. Earning your value, earning your worth, proving, what's it called? The pickup artist, demonstrating higher value. What's all that bullshit? If you have to do that, it means she doesn't like you. She can pretend she likes you. And that's the other thing. We don't like to get rejected, right? Rejection hurts us. We associate rejection with our worth as a man, with our value. So we would rather pay than be rejected. We rather beg than be rejected. Ask her out 10 times, even though she's saying no all the time, because we don't want to be rejected. And then there's people who say it's all about the looks. It's not. It's about your leadership as a man. And until you transform yourself into your true self, you'll never know what it means. Because the only pickup line you need is, hello, my name is, that's it. And from that moment, when she looks in your eye, who you are is what makes her say yes or no. And if she resists or hesitates, it's done. You have to let it go. It will never get better. You may have a period where it looks okay, it looks good, but it will never be the ultimate level of respect that a woman has for a man. That's why men think women don't follow. They don't follow because instead of approaching 20 women, you approach one in your friend group. Oh, I don't want to be seen as creepy. You are seen as creepy. Like women think most men are creepy because most men are creepy. The good guy act, the nice guy act is the creepy thing. You being direct about your desires is not creepy. They will say otherwise. Because if they don't say that, again, you will not provide the dinners. You will not pay for her nails. You will not tolerate her bullshit that you'd never tolerate from your male friends. Hmm? Listen, you are being played. Read The Manipulated Man by Esther Villar. I don't agree with some of the interpretation of what she said, but it will open your eyes. The red pill is okay to wake up the red pill movement, but it's not the way, it's not to take you all the way. It can't take you all the way. Perhaps it was never meant to take you all the way, right? And even if you watch the analogy of the movie, the red pill was just the wake up call. It wasn't the whole fucking dogma to live by. It's not a dogma to live by. So you cannot win the gender war by defeating the other gender, by defeating the opposite sex. The way we all win is by learning how to be together. There's, as an adult, other than your children, there's no better thing than having the right woman in your life. Or if you're a woman, to have the right man. Of course, I'm talking about heterosexual couples here. As a heterosexual adult, there's nothing better than finding the right person who wants you for you, where you don't have to pretend to be somebody else at all, who desires you, who doesn't want you to spend money or they won't see you. Like, think about this. If a woman doesn't want to see you unless you take her to an expensive restaurant, you really think she likes you? It's been in a long time since I watched, I think it was Casino with Robert De Niro. Sharon Stone was in it. And the guy she was working with, he didn't have as much money as De Niro, but she kept running to him. I'm not saying don't make money. What I'm saying is let your true self come through. Be willing to be rejected and be willing to reject. When I go on a date, I'm not going saying, "Oh, I'll definitely sleep with her. I'm gonna." No, I know within a first few minutes that, listen, no matter what she does, even if I find her attractive, I'm not gonna end up in bed with her. I don't want it. I've ended. To me, it's late, but I've ended dates. You know, I don't like to go more than an hour anyway. I've ended dates and people they're like, "Oh, you're gonna cut it quick?" Yes, so yeah, I'm just gonna cut it short. And I don't really go on dates like that, but when I do, it's for the purpose of seeing. It's like if I go on a date, usually it means I don't trust the girl. There's something about her that I'm like, let me just go out with her one time and see. And when I go, it's just a simple thing. I've gone literally to not just the park, the city, like the town, on the street. We walk. I've done that. A drink, a coffee. If she says, "Oh, I don't do coffee dates," okay, bye. She's not for me. There's another thing. I'm not gonna go into it today, but at some point I want to go into it and see what you think, because it's like a theory of mine. So the same way we have blood types, and you have to be compatible with another blood type. I think human reproduction or relationships, there's a type thing where some are just not compatible, and I think most people are just not compatible with each other. That's why you have to be willing to put in the work to find the person that is just right for you. Maybe that's why we have the myth of the one. There is more than one person compatible with you. But you have to be willing to put in the work to find them. So this is my view. The whole gender war thing is because people don't understand this information. Women don't understand male leadership. Men don't understand male leadership. So we keep fighting about things that we don't need to fight. People want to run away from responsibility and they want to live a life of pleasure, hedonism, just, you know, not tied down to anything, which is fair. But we need to do a bit better than that because we have things that we are responsible for. So I'm going to end the show here. If you are in family court and you need help, if you just want to reach out and talk, I always dedicate at least 1 hour to people. No charge, no obligation. It's not a pitch. I actually work with you during that hour to solve a problem. I never liked it when people give, people still do it like 20-minute consultations and 30-minute consultations. That's not enough to drill down into anything. And most of them are sales pitches anyway. And I've had people help me when I started my family court proceedings. A lot of people helped me. A lot of lawyers helped me for free. A lot of people help me. So it's fair that I help others too. If you choose to become a client, that's a separate thing. And so that's what I've got for you today. So thank you so much for watching. My name is John Paul. Click on the link below to go to bravefathers.com and get in touch. And remember, when in doubt, you are the truth. I'll see you soon.
bravefathers.com